Hello everybody, Zanafar here, and today we're doing a review of episode 2 of Ultraman Blazar. So let's get into it. Let's talk about Gento Haruma. So how is Gento Haruma in this episode? Well, he is really good in this episode. He's now the captain of SKaRD, and his relationship with his new team is really fun to watch. So far, Gento is a pretty good captain. Another thing I like about Gento is, in his teams, he'd rather not use last names. He just wants to use either a nickname or your first name. For him, he'd rather be called Captain Gento, and that's something I just find very interesting. So far, I really like Gento. He's a lot more funnier in this episode and just very likable, and I just really like him, and he's also just really cool in this episode. Now let's talk about Emi Aobi. So how is she in this episode? Well, so far, she is very likable. I like her interaction with Captain Gento, it's very fun to watch, and she's just a very funny, likable character. Now let's talk about the new Vice Captain, Teraraki Nagora. So far, I think he's a pretty okay character. I do like him. He is mostly just on the phone in this episode, and I do have to say his interactions are very funny to watch, so far I do like them. Now let's talk about Anri Minami. She does martial arts, I'm curious if that's going to be any of the episodes, and she's a bit of a gearhead. Pretty cool. So far, she is a pretty fun character. Now let's talk about Yasamuto Bando. So we don't really know too much about him in this episode because he's mostly missing, but it gets revealed he is the inventor of SKaRD, and he was the first one to join SKaRD, and that is pretty interesting. Now let's talk about the man chief, Retsu Haruno. I have to say, so far he's very interesting. He don't trust Ultraman, he's basically making SKaRD and he wants to eliminate Kaiju threats before Ultraman does. I'm just curious if he eventually, maybe in one of the episodes, is going to correct an attack on Ultraman, because I don't know I can trust his character, but I do really like him so far. He interests me. So how are the characters in this episode? So the characters are really good in this episode. I really enjoyed when Captain Haruma was recruiting everybody, because it was just very funny to watch, but also just very relatable with the interactions with the characters and just made them felt like people, and that's something I really enjoyed. Let's talk about the dub and some of the voice actors and the characters they voice. For Emi is Madeline Doro, and her performance is really good in this episode. And who does the voice for Yasamuto Bando? Rico Bajardo. And his performance is so far pretty good. Now let's talk about Anri Minami. And who does her voice? Madeline Moritz. Also does a really good job in this episode. Now let's talk about Teraraki Nagora. Who does his voice? Nicholas Andrew Louie. And he does a pretty good performance. Who does the voice for Retsu Haruno? Keith Silverstein. And I like his performance. So my thoughts on this dub is really good. It's just like the Ultraman Z dub, and that is awesome. Johnny Long Boss is really great in this episode, and the rest of the voice actors are also great. Now let's talk about the effects. Let's talk about Gatos. I really like this design. It's a really cool looking kaiju. I like the fact it has a blowhole on its back. That's really cool. And also, that little dangly thing on his head can shoot out and tie things up and electrocute them. That is really cool, and also it lights up. That is awesome. I also really enjoyed the fight scene in this episode, especially when Gato shot his beam and then Blazar dodged that. That was epic. Another thing I really love is a little bit of kaiju gore. It's always nice to see, especially how Blazar finished off Gatos by fishing him out and then shooting his energy spear at him and cooking him. That is awesome. We also see the first look of Earth Garon. So the effects in this episode is really good. Let's talk about the music. We finally hear the intro song, and what is my thoughts on it? I really liked this song. It kind of felt like a modern day Showa song mixed with a little bit of early Heisei. and it's something I really enjoyed. So I thought this intro song was really good. What did I like about episode 2? I think it's so cool that our main character, our main Ultraman, is the captain of the attack team. It's nice to see somebody with experience, and it's nice to follow the captain. So what is my final thoughts on episode 2 of Ultraman Blazar? I really liked this episode. This episode is very different to episode 1. Episode 1 was very serious, with this episode being more comedic. But this episode was just really good with the humor because it was relatable, the effects was awesome, and this episode was just a really good episode. Well, that is it for this review. Thank you so much for watching. Tell me down below what you think of episode 2 of Ultraman Blazar. And if you're new, subscribe. If you like this video, drop a like for this video. Zanafar is out.